Hello again, and welcome to episode 12 of Four Comedians and a Hat, the show where nobody gets slimed. Please click on the icon at the bottom right of your screen for those of you who are watching on PC or Mac. The rest of you crazy children can go to our YouTube channel at Gateway Comedy Scene on YouTube. You can like us on Facebook at Gateway Comedy Scene Friends, and you can follow us on Instagram at Four Comedians and a Hat. No, I am not Will Smith, although I am oftentimes mistaken for him. I am your host, the most successful comic to come out of Peabody, Missouri, Mr. Vincent Opper. Now let us meet our panelists. Directly next to me, we have Chipp Jones. Everybody, a big hand for Chipp Jones. Chipp is a smart guy trapped in a fat guy's body. He's located out of Washington, D.C. and co-host of Pacifica Radio's Community Watch and Comment Friday edition. His take on topical news, Black life and family has brought laughter to people on the East Coast, from sunny colleges in upstate New York to Miami, Florida, and all stops in between. He's performed at Gotham, Stand Up New York, and Caroline's in the Big Apple, the Music Box in the Borgata Hotel and Casino in Atlantic City, New Jersey, as well as the Wisecrackers comedy clubs throughout Pennsylvania. This past year, he's performed online at Flappers Club in Burbank, California, Villain Theater in Miami, Florida, and the Palm Springs International Comedy Festival, performing with such comedians as Dave Attell, Joey Cola, Tony Woods, Matt Kazam, and Al Goodwin. But I am sure Chipp's greatest accomplishment is headlining Quarantine Buffoonery this past summer. Chipp, am I right?
You are correct, sir.
Thank you, thank you. Another big hand for Chipp. All right, directly under Chipp, we have Rabiah Coon. I got the name right. I'm so proud of myself. Rabiah moved to London from America in early 2020 for her day job in IT and was making her way around the London comedy open mic scene before lockdown. And now that you're locked down, I guess if you go out in London, they don't shoot you because they don't have guns. I guess they could club you. Let me tell you something. In Missouri, man, we shoot you ass, okay? Anyway, besides London and online, she has taken the stage in Austin, Oakland, Portland, Los Angeles, and San Diego. She also hosts More Than Work podcast and would love for you to give a listen. Where can we find that podcast at?
It's on Anchor, and then it's on Apple, Spotify, Google, everywhere, basically.
All the big ones. Okay, all right. One more time, a big hand for Rabiah.
Thank you.
And finally, directly below me, we have Mr. Brendan Olson. Big hand for Brendan. Brendan performs all over St. Louis and Illinois. He is a St. Louis Funny Bone finalist and was voted the best comic in St. Louis by a Riverfront Times readers poll. And I did not even get one vote. I didn't even know there was a poll. Gosh.
Nobody knew there was a poll, and that's how I won it.
No.
So have you gotten any perks because of it?
No.
No, okay.
My name was right next to Nikki Glazer, who beat. Oh, so that's actually the correction. I got second place, beat out by Nikki Glazer, who apparently counts as a St. Louis comedian.
Who's that? Jeez. Anyway. Oh, Brendan would agree that his greatest thrill in comedy, which will never be exceeded even if he should headline Carnegie Hall, his greatest thrill was performing under the Gateway Comedy Scene banner at the holiday party for the local Service Masters franchise. Am I right, Brendan?
That is 100% correct.
All right, one more time. Big hand for Brendan. And thank you to all of our panelists. And once more, I'm going to prove that I have a real hat. Same hat I've been having, the one that I stole from the pimp/stripper.
Now, is this going to still work? Because they're not in the positions that you said for me. So
it still works because
okay, just making sure.
Yeah. That's why I edit, because people ask questions like that. Chipp, are you ready for your first question?
I am. You're not going to edit that out, are you?
Probably not. You know how much time it takes to edit? Gee.
Yeah,
Okay.
a whole 10 minutes.
Chipp,
Yes.
which comic that you know personally has the potential to make it big?
How big? You mean like big?
Big.
Tony Woods. He's actually on his way now. In fact, I think his Netflix premiere is going to be in the next couple weeks. He is somebody who's coming to the forefront. Has been kind of a secret because he actually has mentored a lot of comedians that you know. In fact, he mentored Dave Chappelle. When Dave first started out, it would be quite common for Dave's mom to bring him down to comedy clubs when he was 14 and hand him over to Tony to keep an eye on him. So, and so he is, anyone who has been anyone in comedy will tell you that Tony Woods has been a guiding light for them, whether it's Dave Chappelle, Patton Oswalt, or Wanda Sykes, anybody. And it's been a shame that he has been so, I would say, underutilized in the comedian field. So he's about to break big, though.
How long has he been doing comedy?
He has probably been doing comedy for over 20 years. And you can actually see a bit of him because, excuse me, I got a frog in my throat. There's a Netflix series from, what's her name? Haddish.
Tiffany.
Tiffany Haddish. She just started her second season called They Ready. And he actually did one of those episodes. And from out of that, Netflix signed him to do his own hour-long special.
Very nice. Very nice. There are two comics that I have in mind. One I have met on Zoom shows, and the other is out of St. Louis. There is a comic out of Nashville, and her name is Ritu Tathari. I know Chipp's been on shows with her. She's absolutely amazing. She's from India originally. And she has such quick wit and such great timing and such perfect jokes and a great delivery. If I was a betting man, I'd put money on her that one day she's gonna really make it big. And she's young enough that she's just gonna keep improving. The other comic is a guy out of St. Louis who has now moved to New York, Nathan Orton. Brendan's very familiar with Nathan, who's just a fantastic comic. And not just a fantastic comic, just a wonderful person to work with. Mm-hmm. And I think that's one of the fun things about getting in this older as I did, is seeing younger comics, and I'm thinking, man, I can probably watch them grow into something special. But unfortunately, I'm not a betting man.
Yeah, I have some friends, like a friend in San Diego, Connor Costello, and he's a one-liner guy, but he got into starting like storytelling and stuff, and he's just one of those people. I'd be happy for him. Like, I'd be more happy than I would be jealous. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Which is like a good. There's a guy over here, and since I'm in London now, I've met a lot of people online. This guy, Harry Wright, he's actually he's an autistic comic, which over here it's funny. There's a lot more of like neurodiversity, as it's called, which I hadn't even heard that term in the U.S. Mm-hmm. But and he's awesome. He's working on a one-man show. I saw his 45-minute preview, and just cool guy, and really just a special guy. Like, just I met him in person, and he was super nice, just like he was online. And yeah, it's just neat. Again, a younger person who, I think has a shot. So it's nice.
St. Louis is a really interesting scene because we have so much. We're so close to practically everything. Or at least an 8-hour drive away from everything. Mm-hmm. And so there's just a lot of stage time available. And so you see a lot of growth out of people. I think JC Sabala is definitely one of the people who I think could get really big from St. Louis, as well as Nathan. And then also, I think, Rafe Williams for sure. And Rafe has already got a special out on Amazon, I think. I think it's called Young Grandpa. It's really funny.
Yeah.
So, it's really interesting, and you always hope all of your friends and everybody in the scene makes it big. Of course, it's not possible, but
No, you don't.
Right? Yeah. Yes, you do. You want to make big. I want them to make big and have big coattails to take you along.
Yeah, there you
that's
go.
right.
If Brenda breaks out of St. Louis, I'm going to be so jealous. Are you kidding me?
But you know, the thing with DC is that I consider DC is like a hothouse because it's actually a small town. You know, it's in the greater DC area. It's about 1 million people, maybe 1.1 million. But it has sort of the big city amenities because it's the national capital. Because DC is such a diverse city. You know, you could be doing a show one night where it's 50 people from Iowa, and the next time you're doing a show, it's 300 people that are first and second generation Indians. So you've got to be able to do material that's, you know, more universal than I think a lot of comedians get when they're, you know, in Houston, or, you know, they're in Chicago. You know, they can get away with that sort of regional stuff. You can't do it in DC. And DC is also weird because they really hate puns for some reason.
The fuck?
It's not,
Really?
doesn't go over unless it's a specific pun show. The crowd just does not like puns. They consider it lowbrow. So.
We have a comedian. He's out of Springfield, Illinois, which is a couple hours north of St. Louis. And that's his whole shtick, is just dad jokes and puns. And I get the biggest kick out of him. He's not everybody's cup of tea, but if you're into strange puns, man, you got to go see Johnny Pants. So,
Oh,
right.
Yeah.
Robbie, are you ready for your first question?
Yes.
If you would create a holiday, what would it be called, and how would we celebrate it?
Oh, this is gonna be so. Actually, they have one that I would do. So let me think. I guess I would just have like a music day, like music's music day. Because I think that because then, and how we would celebrate is either you would play music, or you would play music some way. Either you would play, like, I have a guitar here that I can't play, so maybe I would have to learn it for that day. Or you would just be streaming music all day or something, but you'd have to have like music themed parties, basically. I thought of it because I'm wearing my Elton John shirt. I love Elton John, but I wouldn't want an Elton John day. I think everyone should have their own music that day. So yeah, and we would celebrate it just by having like music themed parties or events and fundraisers with musicians at them, stuff like that. It's kind of lame, but yeah.
Businesses closed down?
Sure, yeah, I think so.
Alright.
Music still plays in the elevators, though. You can't stop the music, but yeah, you know. I guess that's what it would be. Because I was gonna say like a holiday where you do service, but they have National Day of Service everywhere, so
Yeah.
we already have it.
I'm really down for that music holiday. I love music. I think it's one of my favorite things in the world, and that's such a good idea.
Thank
It's like
you.
a 10 out of
Stop
10.
the music. Yeah, I would go in a different direction. I've thought about this a couple times. I would do a holiday called Black History Weekend, 2 days that we could append to Black History Month, so it's a full month. I think is what I'm thinking.
Yeah, get over 30 days there.
Yeah, get our full 31 days, a full month. That's what I'm thinking.
I think my holiday would be in the same vein as that. I think I would set up a holiday, like one day, probably in November, where everybody gets off work and they get to go vote and participate in the civil process. I think that would be the holiday. Probably
that's
on
brilliant.
November 4th, probably.
I think I'll do a holiday like in January, like January 6th, where everybody just leaves the Capitol alone and lets the process take place.
Non-surrection day.
Yeah, January 6th, stay away from Capitol Day. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good too. I love the voting day as a holiday. I think that we should have that. So
Mm.
I'm almost annoyed at myself as an activist for not saying that thing.
Well, the reason I'm hopeful is that hopefully that can't get the genie back in the bottle, and with most voting now, we're doing extended voting. People are able to vote for 2 weeks now, so they can pick their own time. And if they don't want to even show up, they can mail in their ballots. I mean, that's the thing, is we want to make it as easy and have as a wide variety of ways to participate as possible. That's it.
Hmm.
I'm waiting for it to
Yeah.
get down to Facebook poll. I mean, that's when it'll be great.
Just one big Facebook poll.
Everybody gets a chance.
And I think we should do that monthly. Who do you want to be president this month? Share, why not?
Well, they're trying to recall the governor in California, which is just, I'm like,
Yeah,
whatever. So
Newsom,
it's just
yeah.
like, I guess you can just like recall whoever's there and then put someone else. Yeah, and share
Mhm.
tweets a lot. She could probably tweet some campaign slogans out,
That's it.
She would do
No, I
really
think-
good if she could turn back time.
Oh, I don't agree with that. I think if you're going to recall a governor, that should actually be done through Amazon returns.
Moving on. Brendan, are you ready for your first question?
Oh, I'm be still my heart.
You're going to love this one. You are casting for a new Three Stooges short. Of the 3 other comics on the panel, who would be Mo, who would be Larry, and who would be Curly?
Okay, so look, I'm 27 years old. I've never watched an episode of
Blasphemy. Blasphemy.
Man.
I think
Brendan, I've got a heart condition, and you're agitating it right now.
Okay.
I was probably the worst person to get this question.
I gotta check to make sure my wife is not watching this, because she is actually related to Shemp,
Oh,
the stooge you did not mention.
there's
Really?
a fourth stooge?
Yeah,
Wow.
and that's how she's related to Barney Frank. They're both related to the Howards. So
That's amazing.
Yep.
Like
Okay,
the more you know goes across
The
the.
more you know.
I'll tell you what, Brendan, just take a shot at it, and the rest of
Okay.
us will decide whether or not you're way off, okay?
Okay,
Yep.
so okay, hang on. So there's Mo, Curly, and then who's the third one?
Larry.
Larry.
Okay. So we'll go ahead and we'll make Larry is gonna be Vince. Mo is gonna be Rabiah, and Curly is gonna be Chip.
Oh,
I
And
like-
I feel very
some hair
strongly
thing?
about that.
close.
I'm open to corrections, but I'm gonna defend this.
Story of my life. You made me the stooge that nobody cares about.
I kind of like mine, right? Yeah.
I picked it special for you. I knew you would like it, so that's why.
She actually fits more the Larry, because he had longer locks of hair.
Yeah, and I could have done it curly today, but I was
Yeah.
lazier than lazy. 'Cause
Mhm.
So I do remember. Actually, I have seen one episode of The Three Stooges, and I watched it in my German class in high school, but it was in German. So I mean, the physical humor hit, but
Yeah, I was gonna say it shouldn't have lost much.
Right. Yeah, I don't think the dialogue was the strong suit of that show. Based on what I've seen.
yeah, like yeah, like that. I guess like I was thinking if it was in Russian, it could be like yeah, but like I don't know what it would be in German. 999. But it was-
If it was Spanish, it would be yeah.
Mhm.
So, do you get into any of the classic comedy teams? From
Laurel and Hardy,
So I
Lewis and Martin.
As a rule, I don't watch anything that was made before 1990.
Wow.
That's not true. I'm just kidding. No, I really that is something that I do need to I don't know. I feel like everybody says that. Like, I'm making excuses like, I totally need to go back and watch all that old stuff, but
Right.
like, I'm never gonna do it.
Tango and Cash.
What a great comedy team.
I don't know why I thought that Tango and Cash in my head, and I knew it wasn't true the minute I thought it. I thought that was the dog and
Oh, that's
Oh,
Turner
Turner and
Hooch.
Tom
Turner and
Hanks,
Hooch,
yeah. That's
Turner and
what-
Hooch.
Well, Brendan, let me give you a suggestion.
Uh-huh.
You don't have to watch everything,
Uh-huh.
but definitely watch Duck Soup by the Marx Brothers. There's still not a movie that has comedy that moves that fast that's ever been made.
Hmm.
You have to watch it a few times to catch it all.
The Marx Brothers. That's
Yeah,
interesting. I do
pretty
consider
much all
myself
of their stuff.
a Marxist, so
Yeah.
I just-
I was gonna say pretty much all the Marx Brothers stuff is like that. Night at the Opera, Day at the Races. I mean, they're pretty jam packed.
Yeah.
Oh, do you know what? I did go back and I watched a bunch of Mel Brooks stuff.
Mhm.
Cool.
I really like History of the World Part 1, and like Young Frankenstein.
That's
Frankenstein.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
Frankenstein.
sorry. But yeah.
Did you like Baseball?
Silent movie is an excellent one if you like, sight gags and
Mm.
physical humor.
I did like Spaceballs. I've seen that a couple times. I still have yet to. I have been told I need to watch Blazing Saddles.
Blazing Saddles, yeah.
Yeah.
Cleavon Little, another fun fact. When my parents divorced, my mom dated Cleavon Little before we moved from New York to Memphis, Tennessee. So,
Really?
Yeah.
I
In fact,
assume this
I
was
think-
before he died.
Oh yes, definitely before he died. Yeah. Yeah. So this would have been around 72, between like 72 and 74.
Wow. So right before he really broke out.
Yeah. So I think part of the relationship probably broke up because she was single with 2 kids and he did just start to break out.
Boy,
his options got better.
If Richard Pryor didn't have a drug problem and would have been insurable, Cleavon Little nobody would have ever heard of him. Your mom could have been your stepdad.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah. But,
All right. Well, Chip, are you ready for your next question?
Yeah. Can I give you one more last fun fact?
Sure.
Shemp Howard's wife was named Babe, and she was the first woman to ever get a Harley Davidson franchise. Amazing.
Wow.
So if you're ever playing Trivial Pursuit or a trivial game, remember Babe. The Babe.
Was she
Well,
in the big city?
The other Babe. Upstate Connecticut. That's where they're originally from.
Wow.
The Howards. Next question, please.
Chip, if you had the power to shrink any one object and carry it with you in your pocket, which item would that be?
Shrink any object and carry it in my pocket. What would it be? It would probably be like Parliament, so that I could always have a cool soundtrack to my life everywhere I went. I think that's what it would be.
I have a question. Do you get to unshrink and reshrink it at will, or does it stay tiny forever?
Forever.
Well, hold on. Let me look up the rules and bylaws. Whatever you want to do.
Yeah, I would have the ultimate NPR tiny desktop concerts. It would be great.
Nice.
Great.
I'd probably pick a Walmart, just a whole Walmart. I don't know how I would enlarge that and be able to utilize it, but I feel like it's got the most options.
Which is horrible, but I almost want to say my laptop, because a lot of times I want to bring it, but then I won't want to have it the whole time. When you used to be able to go out you know, I'd want to go like work on stuff and then have the rest of my night, but I wouldn't want to have a backpack with a laptop and a bunch and then drink a bunch. So
Mm.
I'd probably just stick it in my pocket. Yeah.
Have you? There's actually a device kind of like that. It's have you ever heard of them? It's a cell phone.
Yeah, but it's a lot different. It's a lot different. I like the people who record podcasts on their phone and post them. It's mine sounds different on my computer. I'll tell you that.
That's true.
It's apocalyptic. It's apocalyptic.
Okay, Chip, you're my age. Do you remember when Taco Bell had the Bellbeefer?
I don't remember the Bellbeefer.
It was a sandwich,
Uh-huh.
and it had taco meat and cheese on it, and they stopped it in the 80s, and I've been wanting it back ever since.
I
Now,
don't even
was
think
that
it's that funny, but
was the sandwich like a bun or what?
Yeah,
I mean,
it was a bun. It was a bun. Yeah.
So it's like a Mexican sloppy Joe, is what you're basically saying, right? Because I mean, everything must have fallen out of it, right? I mean, it's like
I don't know.
when you ate it and
Taco
after
Bell
you ate it.
Mexican?
The
Right.
Bellbeefer.
I'm assuming it's Mexican.
For those of you who've not seen this show, I put graphics up, and I will for sure have a graphic of the Bellbeefer. And you two down here who are laughing your heads off won't be laughing anymore.
I'm
That's
only laughing. Brendan's so funny when he's laughing.
Who signed off on the name
But-
of the
I know.
Bellbeefer?
Vince, I love your editing, by the way. I think it's really good. I mean, I love it. I think it's really fun. So
Oh, thank
I'm
you.
excited to see that part.
Was the catchphrase "Talk to the Bellbeefer"?
It's Bellbeefing time.
Say it to the Bellbeefer.
Well, two things have happened since I've mentioned the Bellbeefer. Number one, Brendan will be completely edited out of this show.
That's right.
Oh, Brendan. Oh,
Number two, Chip, I am sorely disappointed that a person of your age doesn't remember the Bellbeefer.
Especially of my girth. You mean of my girth?
Yeah, I'm smart. I only let my from the neck up
Brendan,
be.
Brendan, it looks like Vince has got a Bellbeefer with you, buddy.
Yeah.
You're in trouble.
Bellbeefer. I hardly knew her.
I mean, they got rid of other stuff, but I didn't know about the Bellbeefer either.
That was like the first thing they got rid of in like the mid 80s. I was in college. I went in to get a Bellbeefer. They said, we no longer have that. Oh, man.
Yeah.
Like not a secret menu thing.
Yeah.
There was a.
I think
there
it was
a
like the
place-
Pinto. People were hitting it from behind and were just exploding.
There was a place by my mom or where I grew up, but I didn't live there anymore, and it was called Beef O'Brady's. And it didn't. And it remind
What was that called?
Beef O'Brady's. I don't understand, and it didn't stay open forever. But like, we wouldn't even go there. It just didn't sound like anything we wanted to have. But they might have a Bellbeefer at Beef O'Brady's.
I knew this couple, Beef and Betty O'Brady. Did you know that?
Oh, do you know the O'Brady's? Beef or chicken O'Brady?
Stop putting beef when you name things. It's not.
Robbie, are you ready for your second question?
I am.
Okay. If you had to replace your hands with something other than different hands, hooks, or claws, what would you choose and why?
That's a tough one. No hooks or claws. That takes. I would do. Oh, that's a hand also. That's a good question. I'd probably do one have be a microphone, and then can it be like a fork? Is that or that count as a hand?
Once more, there are no real rules. So
No
if you
rules.
want to do fork, go for fork.
I guess like a fork, but I would do one of those like, you know, those salad things where those salad hands that you can, yeah. So I'd get one of those and a microphone. So at least I could project and I could get food. Yeah.
I want 2 Bellbeefers as well.
That's right. You sure you want to go with a fork and not a spork? You know, just so you have the options of soup.
Well, that's like that thing. It'll be like both. It's pretty good.
Have you seen that show called Norseman?
I've heard
I
of
have,
it, but I
yeah.
have not seen it.
The rival chief, he gets his hands cut off, and so this is in medieval times, so they replace with a fork and something else.
Just back to my Nordic roots that I don't have, but yeah.
And a small woodland creature. Do you remember Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2?
Yes.
Oh God.
Remember what his hand was replaced with?
Chainsaw.
baby.
Chainsaw. There you go. You can't go wrong when you replace your hand with a chainsaw.
I had never
Or
watched those
Bellbeefer.
movies till this summer. My daughter, we went to the drive-in, and they had The Evil Dead there. It's the first time I'd seen it, believe it or not. And then we came home, and a few nights later, we watched Evil Dead 2 outside with our projection screen, and I loved that. So then I naturally had to watch the third one.
Army of Darkness is
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That's a great
those are awesome low-budget movies.
They're like zombies. I didn't see it, but it's like zombie
No,
movies,
it's like hellion creatures. So it's
Okay.
he's always fighting these undead. As a classic male, of course, I would replace a hand with a TV remote, so I'd always know where it is. I think that would be a classic one.
Have control of the buttons just willy-nilly, or do you have to use your other hand to press the buttons?
I think you could just flex. I think it would be
Okay.
You
I'm here
You get
for
the
it.
controller that you talk into. Like,
That's right. I can do that one.
Or have you seen Kentucky Fried Movie?
Yes.
Mm-mm.
The short A Fistful of Yen, where Dr. Claw has all these detachable devices.
Right.
And at one time he has a detachable dildo. We're just dicking around now. All right.
Oh.
Who goes dildo and doesn't just go vibrator at the end? I mean, what's the point?
I don't know.
Well, the movie is from the 70s.
Yeah.
It was like,
On that note, Brendan, are you ready for the final question?
Oh,
Mhm.
hit me.
Drum roll, please. What is the ideal age to lose one's virginity?
Okay. So I'm gonna probably say confidently that it's 16. I think that's Rabiah, you're giving me a look, I feel like.
no, I'm just looking like
Okay.
no, I'm not judging that. No. I wish I had a better high school experience.
That's the age I lost my virginity, was 16. And it was a lot of hard work put into that. I really had to sell it. But I feel like that was a good age. I've known people who lost it younger than that, and sometimes there is an air of, I wish I'd been more mature to handle that situation. And then if you're older than that, sometimes it can be a source of contention, like, oh, how come I haven't lost it yet, especially if it's not like your choice. So I think 16, just mental health and confidence wise, in my experience, is probably a good age to lose your virginity. But I'm open to other opinions as well. So
I always use the formula. It's the half the age you think of plus 7. I think isn't that what it's supposed to be?
That's like the youngest men should be.
Okay. I get my formulas mixed up.
I think the youngest you should date is like half your age plus 7. I think was
Right.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Let's hear, Vince. When did you lose your virginity? Somewhere around the time Norseman was based, or?
Well, I had a girlfriend. We got in the back of the horse and buggy, and I wrapped a rabbit skin around it and went to town.
He gave her the old horse
Vince,
and buggy. Yeah.
Vince, I think this is a proper time for you to say, "Go ask your mother." I think that's the correct answer to a question like that.
Well, I Vince has been married a couple times, so who's to say which one I'd have to ask?
I'd say more like 19, but I don't know if that's just from a female perspective. And I mean, that's not even when I did. I was pretty late. And it became a thing where it was like, gosh, I'm like, but yeah, I'd say just a little older, and then you're probably gonna be either you're in a relationship, or if you hook up, you're at least old enough to have friends who can relate to that. And not, I think in high school, I don't know. In high school, it was definitely not someone I wasn't ready for that. And I think people have immature attitudes about it towards women. Women are always like shamed about it, you know. So I'd say 19, but that's just mine.
Well, sex is so complicated because there's so much that goes into it, and there's, you know, that's trauma that's involved, and a lot of times, and, you know, personal experience, and having to deal with discovering yourself as far as like what you like, and then coming to terms with what you like, and coming to terms with the ability to communicate that to your partner. That I think just maturity improves the experience for sure. I mean, I think about the sex I had when I was in my teens, and I mean, I was definitely more physically fit and thinner, which made it a little bit better. But you know, being older, you know, I just communicate more, and that makes it a lot better, I think.
So being older, you can bring the emotional heat. That's nice.
Yeah, girl, I'm gonna give you that emotion.
That's right.
I don't know.
That's right.
Well, as Brendan knows, and probably Chipp's heard it too, you know, I do a pretty long bit on my struggles with ED. So, you know, sex for me in my 50s has been completely different than it has been any other time of my life. And it's almost become more relaxed because of my condition. It's I can joke about it. I can be more open about it. And I guess a lot of that's also just age. You know, I'm getting to an age where I don't really give a shit what people think about me anymore. So,
Least of all my wife.
That's right. Well, I mean, also too, as you know, in that boat of being an older male, you know, you've reached that plateau where it's like you can have sexual experiences that are not really about you. You know, you could say, you know, this one's, you know, for the other team. I'm going to focus on the other team. You know, so
yeah.
well, I'm not into team sex, so I, you know, what I do, that's.
But it's true. Like if you, I mean, just on the other side of it, like I think it takes a while for women to know that they can enjoy it and be maybe after some end goal that men are usually after, right?
right,
and,
right.
And yeah, and communicate. I think communication is a big thing. And I hope like the younger generation, I think it sounds like it. I mean, Brendan, you're like 14 years younger than me, so maybe there is like this understanding with younger people that the focus doesn't have to be just one
Well,
specific
actually,
thing.
the trend now is they are abstaining longer now,
Wow.
which is a weird trend that's been happening in the last few years.
Or what?
They're abstaining. They're not actually having sex. So, you know, psychologists are trying to figure that out, and anthropologists, you know, what's going on. You know what?
Oh my gosh, it's so annoying.
Yeah.
But I've never been more jarred at the different experiences between a man's experience on Tinder and a woman's experience on Tinder. Because I was in an open relationship for a long time, and we would both be on Tinder, and just our the the situations and the experience we had. I mean, just how many messages you get as a woman that are just entirely inappropriate. And I'm sure I, you know, don't have to explain that to anybody here, but I mean, I know it's like if I get a message and I really gotta take advantage of that one because I gotta put some effort into it. It's once in a blue moon that I get a response. So.
But that whole situation is just, I mean, there's a friend of mine, a comedian, who used to do a bit about the difference between men on Tinder and women on Tinder. It's like men on Tinder are like, ooh, you know, I couldn't really tell from that pic. I hope she's not fat. And women are like, ooh, I hope he doesn't kill me. You know, it's like, it's
Right.
totally,
Oh my God.
you know, it's like,
Yeah.
there's no real parity between what women are thinking going out on a Tinder date and what guys are thinking going out on a Tinder. So it's like, you know.
Yeah. And you get messages that are just like, it's kind of like, would you really talk to someone like that? Because you made me feel like just garbage.
Right.
Like, and I'm not here to feel like garbage.
Right.
I mean,
right.
you know, and it's like I'm actually like smart and pretty nice and didn't really deserve that. So
And what's worse is that you think that's the kind of talk that's going to attract me. It's like, whoa.
well, yeah, that's another thing. I mean, it's just like, and then they get mad at you if you turn them down. Then it's like, so it's not worth it to me if you're talking to someone for a little bit and then you're not interested. I would always try to like say, oh, you know, I don't think there's interest, but you know, good luck. And then I don't do it anymore because then you'll get like, fuck, you know, whatever. I don't know if we're cursing on here, but just like you'll get all these things, you'll get called all these names. I always get called fat. I'm like, okay, thanks, because I haven't told myself that this morning when I looked in the mirror. So thanks for reaffirming that. You know, it's just like, come on, you know, like.
It's like,
okay.
Oh, that's great. What did you think? That was going to change my mind?
Yeah, I mean, I put a few extra pounds.
That's your deal closer? Yeah, she says.
Yeah, it's like, you could have filtered me out, bro. You know, I don't know.
You swiped on me, so what's the deal here?
Yeah. Yeah, and like, I didn't want to get a picture of you, your dick. Thanks.
Okay, I won't send it then.
I don't know.
That's right.
All right, we need to wrap.
So yeah, even I've.
We need to wrap this up.
These kids today and their dick pics, you know, they could just take a picture and send it, you know. Vince and I know the days where you had to go to Sears and wait in line in the studio. You know, then you had to get a stamp and an envelope. You know, it's like dick pics were hard work.
Yeah, you couldn't do it back then.
That reminds me of the bit Rafe William has about dick pics. He talks about a guy who he knew in the army that would take like Polaroid pictures of his dick and leave it in library books. Yeah, his bit is so funny. But that's the wildest thing I've ever heard.
Well, I used to do when I liked going to the Sears studio because I could send dick pics, you know, with my balls up on the hay bale. There's a picket fence behind it, you know. And if you had the extra money, you could actually get the double exposure where you got it going one way and it put it, you know, it's like
glamour shots of your
That's right, you know.
All right. Well,
some with, you know, graduation cap on.
You need to take off here. One more time, big hand for Chipp. Thank you, Chipp. Big hand for Rabiah. Thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. And you all have a pleasant week. And I'm going to go sweep some snow and go back upstairs. Thank you. Appreciate it, guys.